Thank you, thank you. So I heard that the last gentleman that was moderating said that he was holding you back from drinks. Well, guess what? No, I am. I am. All right. So I've got the wonderful opportunity to pick this up a level, because I think we need a little bit of energy in the room, and to finish with hopefully a really compelling proposition for all of you. So what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to explain to you how 5G is not hype. 5G is absolutely here, and it's coming faster and better than you ever thought. And what I really need from all of you is to think about your respective roles and your influences and your jobs to make things better for your consumer, for your customers, and for this world. Because I sincerely believe that 5G is going to be the launching pad to a whole new way of capability. Now, let me start by first setting the stage. So there's a lot of things out there. There's lots of things that are connected or to be connected. We have a lot of devices. We have a lot of things in our pocket. There's volume in connectivity and billions of points of presence all over the place. And Qualcomm was presented a challenge. Now, why and how do we step up to that challenge? We were given the challenge because we earned it. We started down the way of analog. Remember analog to digital? Wasn't 140 years ago. Wasn't that long ago, actually. Then going from analog digital to desktop to smartphones. Think about the capability that we have now, and we are never far from our phone. I'm panicking, mine's in the back, right? Our device is in our phone. But really, this next step is going to enable capability that we probably don't even know that we're missing today. And that's my challenge. Our challenge at Qualcomm is to have you understand that we've taken away some constraints that you don't even realize are constraints today, or might not be top of mind to you today. We have lots of devices. Smartphone is a given. Children wake up with iPads in their hands. People are gaming. They're talking to people all over the world. Who would have imagined this world just 10 years ago, right? 15 years ago. And so you go, isn't enough enough? Isn't the capability out there? What further challenge are you talking about? Well, at Qualcomm, we like to say that 5G foundation is a fabric that is going to be necessary for the next evolution of capability and transformation in the industry. So what are the problems with the current solutions? Latency, right? Hard to believe, but things are still not, they're fast, they're not fast enough. And more importantly, the latency is still an issue in a lot of situations, right? That's preventing us from deploying really capable solutions in spaces and areas where mission-critical information is required to complete the experience. So think about where smartphones aren't effective today, right? Latency, speed, and that reliability of service. So how do we go cross-spectrum, aggregate all the spectrums that we've created, and actually make them be more valuable to us? I'm going to talk a little bit later about the fact that what we are presenting with 5G is actually just a natural evolution of the next phase of this transformation, of these solutions that have progressed from analog to digital, digital to where we are now. But first and foremost, what I'm going to ask you to do is think about this. Think about it. The industrial age was fueled by water, coal, electricity. Information age, digital, internet, enabled all that. We'd like to talk about this as the age of invention. So we'll put the fabric down. We'll make it there for you, ubiquitous. And upon that foundation, many more opportunities are going to bear their fruit. Let me just show you a little video on it.
At Qualcomm, we believe the world should move in only one direction, forward. It's why we connected your phone to the internet. It's why we pioneered technologies for 3G and 4G. And today, it's why we've taken everything you love about your smartphone and invented breakthroughs to unlock 5G. To help this farmer connect his equipment to real-time weather data. To put safety in the driver's seat by connecting cars to each other, the road, and nearly everything else. To make multiplayer gaming virtually lag-free. To drive more immersive VR. And mobile PCs that you'll rarely have to plug in and that are always connected. We're moving into a new age, the invention age, when Qualcomm's breakthrough technology will transform lives and enable new industries. We can't wait to see where it takes us.
I have one of those PCs powered by a Qualcomm 5G chip. It's pretty cool stuff. So when it says that the PC, the battery life, so I can be using that PC for like 2 days, 3 days, and never have to plug it in to be charged. It does save costs, right? Those cables that you have to buy millions of and keep in every drawer of the house. But better than that, it's just the user experience is quite different. But until, to be very frank with all of you here, until I actually carried one and walked around with it and started using it, I actually thought my PC was fine. My laptop was fine. But then, now that I've been enabled with this new chip, and I don't have to think about all the limitations and the seamless transition from one office to the other office and one building to the other building, it's pretty cool stuff. So the age of 5G is here. And it is an exciting foundation. But it truly only gets exciting when the solutions come to bear. We've talked about it all day, right? Nothing is good unless it drives business outcomes. But the ideas of the business outcomes are yours to be had. So as I said earlier, I'm really here to demonstrate to you that it isn't hype. It isn't hype. It is here. It's real. And those 3 constraints of latency, high speed, and the seamless transition for connectivity to the spectrums, the aggregation of spectrum, is what's going to drive the difference. It really is putting the, I noticed there was a mistake on this slide. I should just leave it up there and let somebody find it. My PR guy did this at the last minute, and he put mainframe after client server. Did you notice that? I was thinking, oh yeah, this will help with my credibility here. Yeah. So at a session like this. Anyways, so you got to visualize this, switch it fast, right? When you think about the evolution, this is kind of what I was leading into earlier, is that the mainframe was the consolidation of resources in one place and one location to get powerful stuff done. So if some of you, like me, show our age and say, we were doing our assignments and we were working and we had to get time on the mainframe computer in order to generate the reports and generate the papers, that was consolidated, right? Put all your resources in that consolidated location. Then we moved to the client-server model, and that's distributed network. So consolidated, then using that network and translating that into distributed consolidations, I guess, all over the place. Does that make sense? And then if you look at that and carry that evolution further, the cloud, again, centralized. So took these network of distributed environments, centralized those resources, and made it powerful for us to make best use of. And we did capabilities that we never thought we could do. Well, next evolution, simply put, edge computing. So now that we figured out how to do this all in the cloud, wouldn't it be amazing if we could drive more power and power into the device? into the form factor. Because wouldn't it be great if we could use the consolidated data? We're generating billions and billions and billions and billions of pieces of data, right? Couldn't it be wonderful if we could consume that at the endpoint? We didn't have to shift this all the way over to a centralized location and push it all the way back. Wouldn't that help with latency? You know, makes a lot of sense. So as I said, I think this next level of 5G, that's where those of us that have been in the industry for a few years, we should be able to say right away that, you know what, this 5G thing isn't hype. It's the next evolution of what we've been working on for many, many years. It's a natural progression of this next evolution. But it does change the game. And where we have to have our new thinking is, so what data gets consumed locally? What data needs to get consumed centrally? What type of AI capability do I need at the edge? What kind of AI capability do I want centrally? And embracing the right architecture to make that all come together. So now, those 5G devices, they're going to be devices that you're going to want, because it's going to give you those options. It's going to give you those options with improved battery power. We're not going to have to worry about the battery. You know, batteries don't have to get bigger and heavier. We're still going to have, we have a 5G device being launched commercially in 2019 on a 5G network, 2019. Pretty cool stuff. Now, originally there was talk that it was 2020, and that was the moonshot. And we got a few calls from a few customers, and they said, not good enough. People's expectations are growing and growing and growing, and they want more. We want that pulled in. And so we feel like we stepped up to the challenge, and we're actually pulling that into 2019. So 5G is here. It's not hype. It's real. The products are being launched. And I think we've done a good job at Qualcomm taking on the challenge of what you think you already have being good enough. You're quickly going to find out that it's not good enough. And those ecosystem of the network, the device, the capability can really open up a whole new set of business propositions. What's more tangible evidence that it's here and it's real is if you look at the history, when we went to the evolution 3G, 4G, we actually were working with 4 operators across the globe. We now, today, actually that might be 21, 20 plus, that's why we put 20 plus, 20 plus operators globally. So every region of the world is embracing and wants to be first to 5G. This is the network effect in action, right? It's the whole thing of how the world has seen the effect of network. And I'm not talking about the pipes and the wires. I'm talking about the power of connectivity across with your consumers, with the world. So 20 plus operators are announced, and we have engagements with 20 plus OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, to build equipment and devices necessary to make this magic happen. That's a significant difference to not many years ago when we were doing the last transition. And I said something different about this transition versus the last is we actually are building on that foundation of what we already have in place, and we're just making it better and improving it. Our challenge at Qualcomm is to keep up with all those people, is to make sure that we have enough people on the ground and to figure out how to make it all happen for all these people, for all their deadlines and all their commitments. It's a good challenge, and we like to have it. So now our customer base is radically changing, as I'm sure you can surmise pretty quickly, is that my customers are out there. So we're trying to get this new technology in the hands of everybody, with all the inventors out there. so that they embrace this and make this happen for our world. But that's a huge change for our company, but we're up to the challenge. So, starts with the consumer. Starts with the consumer, bootstrap the consumer, and don't imagine, just let him imagine, or let her imagine where she can take this. It will drive transformations at the consumer as well as across industries. Again, if you think of your own respective industries and where you're working on in terms of latency, in terms of reliability of service, the VR experience, having to be connected or tethered when that tether goes away. Think of the freedom that that presents without compromising anything with respect to the quality of the visual. The latency, VR, obviously latency is really, really important because you guys, I don't know, many of you have worn those headsets, but they're pretty cool, but they can make you a little bit wheezy. They don't keep up with you, right? One of my favorite things on the consumer, on the retail side, we'll show this a little bit later, but first world problem, I admit that. But I just saw a demonstration of this. It's really cool stuff. I never really thought of it. Again, it's a first world problem. If I'm being fully transparent here. Went shopping for a piece of art, and you can actually see the art in your house, like what it looks like on that wall. Like, so instead of like hiring the guys to have to put a nail in the wall and let it sit there for a week, they're actually like, okay, if you buy art, wouldn't you rather just visualize it in your home with your, they took a picture, you know, the picture of your living room and see how it looks on that blank wall? I mean, how cool is that? Again, that's not necessarily the problems that I'd like to solve for, but it is kind of cool to see the different solutions at bay, rather than just the gaming that my son and my daughter loves to play. So enterprise connectivity, as I said, is changing. The always-on mobile employee. Yes, we all have challenges. I think we have similar challenges to just security, the whole cybersecurity instance, but we're building that into some of our solutions as well. But the enterprise connectivity with the 5G capability is more secure than Wi-Fi. So the worst, I saw on the news, I don't know, about a year and a half ago, when I've just been at Qualcomm. This will be I just celebrated my 3 years. And year and a half after I started, I'm watching the local news, and don't they go and say that the San Diego airport is the worst airport for Wi-Fi cybersecurity issues? I'm like, okay, welcome to Qualcomm, Mary. Welcome to San Diego. So being able to stay on a more secure network is obviously enticing to some of us. But the enterprise connectivity, as I said, when I was using my former device, and now I'm using this new device, again, it's a kind of a, didn't realize you're missing it until you get it. The new ways of collaboration, not just video screens, but actually creating the 3D modeling and being able to work with virtual teams. We've already seen some use cases with respect to that. And the obvious area of automotive. Again, edge computing, where it's happening, where you need it to happen. Ultimate goal for all of us should be, in autonomous driving, should be 0 fatalities as an outcome, right? Well, there's truly no 100% autonomous vehicle at the moment, but we're working very, very hard with the automotive industry to make some of this happen. The agriculture one, you saw it earlier, just ability to think differently in terms of where you're spending your time and spending your space. And as I mentioned earlier, the shopping experience, totally different. Already seen the benefits of this one. I have a soft spot for the factory of the future. I used to be the CIO of Celestica, contract manufacturer, and there's no tighter margins than in the contract manufacturing business. and there's no older factories than the contract manufacturing business. And the challenge of embracing some of our new solutions and some of the new capabilities with the legacy infrastructure. Well, with this 5G, there's a space for private 5G networks that can ride in concert with your existing infrastructure. So very cool stuff, a lot more affordable, not thinking you're going to have to rip everything out, but actually how do you layer on and make it all work in harmony together. So in closing, as I said, my objective today was to show you, or tell you, that Qualcomm is here now. We're ready. We took on those constraints that we're all living with today. Not easy constraints, tough constraints, took on a tough problem, and we've solved it. And we have capability that's here, that's imminent, that's in the marketplace in 2019 on all domains, across all areas. And we're excited by the opportunity that it presents itself, especially from the world that we live in now. So the challenge is over to you. Now that those constraints have been removed, now's the time to really stop, think, and reflect. First of all, to acknowledge that the constraint was there, or is there, and to figure out what is possible. Dare to dream. What a great conference. Dare to dream. I spent today, all day, listening to the presenters, listening to the talk, and I really used today to do a lot of reflection on what am I doing at Qualcomm? What are we doing to push, to embrace, to think of a new way of doing things? I sincerely believe that this 5G thing, it's not going away. In fact, it's just the beginning, the invention age. I like it. Thank you.